to Opie Radio Accelerated. A look back at everything that happened this week in the world of Opie Radio. Featuring Opie, Jim Norton, My Wife Hates Me with Rich Voss and Bonnie McFarlane, Sam Roberts Friday Show, Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve, The Joe Rogan Experience, It's Eric Nagel, Friends of the Show, and more. Opie and Jim Norton.
There's a picture of Bill Cosby on the Cosby Show, and he's got his eyes up in the back of his head doing the no. And it says, I don't always eat It says, I don't always eat Jell-O, but when I do, it's not consensual. And by Jell-O, I mean have sex.
They should have said pussy there, no?
No, because he's a Jell-O guy. Jell-O actually is so ridiculous.
No, instead of sex, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
14 allegations of rape, is that true?
Well,
and why is this coming up again?
Hannibal Buress brought it up on stage, and he was just tired of, because I think he said something, he's tired of Cosby being praised and like talking about how black men should dress and don't wear your pants. And he said something about this guy's a rapist, and he's,
Well, that's what Hannibal said, huh?
But that was the allegation, yeah. But I get why Hannibal said that. It's even though it's only an allegation.
And then after Hannibal said
he
that,
finally had it with Bill Cosby's goody two shoes.
I think
goody two shoes attitude.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have gotten tired of it. But Hannibal just said it in a really harsh way. But that was a really ballsy thing he did, because without proof, you should watch what you say.
He was never charged with the rape, right?
No, I don't think so. But
he was able to make it go away.
I don't know. Maybe
as far as the courts go and everything.
I don't even know if it got to that part.
But after Hannibal said that, a couple of the victims came out with far more detailed accounts of what happened.
One of them who had been hanging out with him for years. And
right.
This says, this is a picture of Bill Cosby tipping his hat. And it's a meme, and it's created by Bill Cosby's own people. And it says, "Hello, my name is Bill Cosby. I am the star of classic 90s comedy Ghost Dad. Also, I am a serial rapist."
Geez. What a dumb idea by his
really
people.
Dumb idea.
It's kind of, as much as I do enjoy Cosby, and it's like, this is kind of, I like the fact that this fucking holier-than-thou guy who did all this shit is kind of being, I kind of like that this is all being exposed.
Are these the best ones? Is there a site with the best ones? Or?
BuzzFeed has a pretty good synopsis of everything that went down.
Yeah, BuzzFeed. All right. Do they still have a show here? The BuzzFeed people?
Did they have a show?
I don't think so.
Well, that was just a short-run thing.
Yeah.
They couldn't make that work?
I don't think BuzzFeed has a show here anymore.
BuzzFeed is a very, very good website. I'm surprised that their radio show didn't take off.
Don't know.
They have so much material. How do you fail if you're BuzzFeed and you go on the radio and just talk about what's on the website?
I never knew they had a show here.
Yeah, they were on for a while.
Too busy modeling.
Modeling, really?
Oh,
Is there? Should I ask about that?
No, it's just a little thing I've been working on.
Just on the side?
A little modeling.
It's just a lie.
I don't know if he's lying this time.
There's a confused photo of Bill Cosby. He's got like a confused, like, what are you talking about face?
Right.
And it says, someone really thought hashtag Cosby meme was a good idea.
So long career. It's Cosby with his thumb.
He's got his thumb up. Yeah, it says, so long career. The social media team said this would be fun.
You think a few people got fired?
Oh, yeah.
For the Cosby meme idea?
He's probably, they're calling me a rapist! Right.
Just yelling at people on his phone.
Because he probably went to check how many adorable memes there were, not knowing there's going to be nothing but rape accusations. What? What is that? He was probably sitting in the hotel suite. Read me one.
All right, that's could be the best one. It is so simple, but I think that's the best one.
This one says, didn't even say hello to getting her Jell-O.
That's him tipping his hat. It's implying rape. Implying he's a rapist.
Look,
the funny
people.
part of all this, of course, is the stupidity of the social media team.
Oh my God, what dopes.
Yeah.
What fucking dopes.
And it must be said, rape itself is not funny.
That's not what we're laughing at here.
But memes about rape certainly can be funny.
Especially when they're at the expense of
Cosby,
not the victim, but the accused,
and his cute pictures.
I think the whole thing is hilarious. This fucking pounding of Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if anyone out there doesn't understand what we're laughing at, too bad. You're dumb.
The Jim Norton Advice Show.
Christine in Long Island. Another girl. 3 girls in the same hour. Oh my God. It's the fucking cooter hour. What's up, Christine?
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So you're making me nervous talking about divorcing, having these men divorce their wives because they don't give them sex enough. And I know I'm definitely not doing that enough for my husband. But I don't want him to.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. How long have you been married?
We are married 15 years.
How often does he try where you say no?
I say no. I definitely give distinct signals, and I feel bad because the desire is still there, and we sex one another and watch porn together, the whole thing. But it's just I am so tired between work and the kids, and I feel so bad. He treats me like a queen. I really have no excuse, but
right.
What's not enough? I mean,
yeah, that's very individual. If a guy's asking for an unreasonable amount of blowjobs, you're with the kids all day. I get it. But sometimes it's almost like you wouldn't go without eating supper. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you got to make it because you're the woman, but the two of you together, you're going to eat dinner. You're going to eat meals. You make time. And I know with sex and kids, I don't understand because I'm not married, but there has to be time once in a while to throw your vagina on his face or his dick real quick or blow him. I think that if people want to have sex, you always find a way to squeeze it in, even though obviously you can't do it like you used to. I'm not recommending people get divorced, but I'm just saying that if one partner wants to have sex and the other partner never does, well then what the fuck you doing? You can't stay with that person. You can't stay in a sexless relationship. That's just bullshit. If both of you are not doing anything and you don't care, that's fine. But if one person wants sex and he's talked to the other person and they're just not giving it up, then you got to think about separating. And if the person goes, well, look, don't separate. Let's fuck a little bit more. Maybe that will work. But if the person goes, okay, yeah, let's separate, then you weren't going to get any pussy anyway. You know what I mean? If you say, look, I'm not happy with this lack of sex. I don't know if we should be together. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Then they weren't going to fuck you next week anyway. So, okay?
Okay.
But I think you sound like a nice girl and that you do care. So why don't you just give this poor guy a little bit, huh?
I know. I know. We're tired. It's not like the desire isn't there, but, and there's a very narrow window of time that they can take advantage. And once that closes, it's all over. And then before you know it, a month has gone by.
Lean over and suck his dick tonight. Why don't you just do that?
All right. I will do that for you, Jimmy.
Thank you. And just when he starts getting into it, and when he's about to come, I want you to hold his cock and look up. I'm doing it for all the glory. Just really annoy him. All right? Good luck, Christine. You sound like a good egg.
The Sam Roberts Show.
She's kind of a major force in most things
Yes.
when you get down to it.
Yeah, when you drill down enough layers, you'll find her there. Yeah, she's a part of it all.
A general force to be reckoned with. There's this Katie Linendoll. First of all, and I told you, you were like, well, what are we going to be talking about? I said, I don't want to talk about Apple again.
Yes.
But
we didn't talk about Apple last time, though. We already got past that.
We didn't. We didn't talk about technology. You were just somebody who happened to be fun to talk to. Your expertise was not needed last time, but that's what happens here. We see where it goes.
Yeah.
Like maybe we'll be in a situation where your expertise is needed.
Very tangential. I respect it. Very my style.
Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll. I like to keep people on their toes.
You usually won't. I mean, just assume that.
Like Nicole comes in here most weeks and she goes, "What are we going to talk about today?" And I'll say, "Quite frankly, none of your business."
Yeah.
I'll let you know once it starts.
And even if you told me, it usually doesn't end up being that. So it doesn't matter. Really isn't any of my business.
No, because I don't always have the strongest idea of what's going to go on.
That leads to some good preparation, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of I invite what we could talk about, but it doesn't end up getting
throw
used.
It in
you
the
could
trash.
Throw it all out now. It's really just a security blanket, all these printed out pages that are here in front of me. But I want to talk about this Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Apple Pay has been in a lot of tech articles recently.
In the wild.
In the wild, because not only is it long. Adrian, is Travis around or is he in the back?
He's in the back.
Okay, Travis, if you can hear, come up, because I want to talk to you about your Apple Pay experience as well, because I think his experience is similar and my experience is typical of this Apple Pay experience. Nicole, do you know what Apple Pay is?
I know what it is. I have not used it yet, though.
Well, you have a Samsung phone. How on earth could you use Apple Pay?
About to get rid of it.
That's
Any
nonsense.
day now. I know I've been talking about it for some time.
Yeah.
It sucks balls.
Right.
And I can't.
Girl.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Let's sway her over to the dark side.
I mean, I gave it the good old college try, and it did not work out.
I got the oddest tweet last weekend when the replay of the show was on.
Yeah?
It said, Sam, why don't you get off Samsung's dick already just because they're giving you free phones?
No.
And I just responded, I've been using an iPhone for years. I mean, I thought I made that so clear.
Either, at all.
Yeah. So I was very excited about Apple Pay. That's, one of the main reasons why I got the new iPhone, so I could use this Apple Pay. Because when Tim Cook did it, I was like, it's magic. It's like I'm getting things. I don't even have to spend money. It's incredible. It's fast. It's everything. And so I think the second day it was available, I went down to McDonald's. And that's how much I wanted to use Apple Pay. I put my health aside.
Ooh,
I said,
McRib.
Yeah, I said, this may kill me, but at least I'll use Apple Pay before I die. But when I got there, I was like, you know who doesn't use Apple Pay? The people who work at McDonald's are going to have no idea what I'm talking about. So I got there, and you know what I did? It was the second day, and I saw where one might be able to use Apple Pay. And I picked up my phone, and I put it there. But she told me the total. She was like, whatever it was, $10 or something. And I picked up my phone to use Apple Pay, but I also pretended like I might be texting, so I wouldn't be embarrassed when it didn't work.
But why would you be embarrassed? She should be embarrassed for not knowing about it.
Because what am I gonna? Nobody in the McDonald's or the employees know what the thing is. If you're the only person who's fighting for whatever here's the rule of thumb in life: whatever you're fighting for. If there's a room full of people fighting against you, you're 100% wrong. Always. It's just
power numbers, man.
It's the way it is. So I'm sitting there and I'm pretending to text, but I got my thumb on the thing. And then the Apple Pay thing comes up and I'm like, yeah. She's like, are you going to use your card? I'm like, no, I'm going to use my phone. Thanks. And I started hitting it. And first I was touching the screen because Apple Pay is where you use your phone to pay and you have to put your thumbprint on it. And there's a picture of a thumbprint on the screen. But that's just to tell you to hit the button.
Yeah, don't touch that.
Yeah. So I'm hitting the screen, and I'm like, no, I'm using my phone. And she's looking at me like, what are you talking about?
This guy's an idiot.
Right.
A total idiot.
You're a moron. You can't do it that way. It doesn't work. And I'm like, no, I'm using... And then I was like, oh, shit. And I just moved my thumb down and hit the thing. And it went through, but the machine wasn't set up right or something because the transaction wasn't completed. She was like, yeah, no, that didn't work.
How red did you turn?
And I was like,
wait, some backup context here. Was there a line behind you?
Yeah. It was noon in Times Square.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's mistake number one.
Yeah, it was noon. It was lunchtime on a work day in Times Square.
You should have hit up like the Models to try this out.
Right.
Yeah, there wasn't a big line or something.
Yeah, I didn't put a lot of thought into it.
Okay, so carry on.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, it didn't work. And I'm just hitting the thing. And now my phone's just opening and I'm texting somebody. And I'm like, what? This thing's... I
wish I was there.
All right, here. And I just had to hand her my credit card that she swiped. And she was like, okay, that's how people pay for food. And I left McDonald's saying I am never in my life going to use Apple Pay again. It's the most embarrassing user experience you could have.
Opie and Jim Norton.
Our audience doesn't really know what happened to you. Do you feel like discussing it?
What happened to you?
I got, you remember Sam Morrell?
Yes.
In his rape joke controversy?
Yes. I actually talked to Lindy West. It was after that. That was what sparked
it wasn't her.
I know, but I mean, that was what sparked that whole thing.
But I like it. I like that her name always comes up instead of this other girl because this other girl's not getting the attention she wanted for it. So by all means, think it's Lindy West. I don't think she's anywhere near as bad as this chick.
So he went with the rape joke, and then he got a lot of heat.
He got somebody wrote a whole article about how outrageous this joke was.
Right.
So I was jealous of the attention he was getting for this because I felt like I should have someone. This is what I thought would be better, that I should have this attention.
Really?
So, yeah, I was whatever. I'm an idiot. So
I was jealous of the attention he was getting for being yelled at for a rape joke.
Because
you're like negative attention, Kurt.
I got a real.
You jealous of Cosby too lately?
Me and Casey Anthony.
I want Hannibal to talk about me on stage.
So I cooked up a thing with Sam.
He likes a good fight, Kurt.
Where
he likes a good
I
fight.
said this person that was writing about Sam, and they had this whole back and forth. I go, let's go on like Facebook and say she's made up. We both made her up, and she's not a real person. We were making a point about censorship. And
that's hilarious.
I got a few people I knew on Facebook to spread around like the jig is up. There's no such person as this girl.
She got
and it spread pretty quickly. And then people started making pictures of like my head pasted on like a lingerie model's body with her name on it. All these fake pages of her started going up. Wow. And this chick was outraged.
Yeah, she was so angry. But it's
it's actually a form of violence, I found out later. It's a form of sexual violence.
That's hilarious.
And she goes, people are drawing penises on my picture, and that's taking it one step too far.
That's Perez Hilton.
So,
exactly.
So then she went through my Facebook. Dude, she went through my Facebook and found like anything and by the way, there's plenty to. she made a collage out of anything I've ever said you could get in trouble for on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And like posted this thing. And
the message you sent me, happy birthday, Darky, she had in there.
Kurt writes things on Facebook that I wouldn't even whisper to Anthony.
And by the way, my Facebook is just the worst thing in the world. Like, I don't endorse it in any way.
Oh, really?
I do not endorse the views of this Facebook. I go on Facebook to try to write jokes because I'm so goddamn lazy. I need people to like thumbs up me. Not even with a full joke, just half an idea.
Right. Good concept, Kurt. Keep working it.
Yeah. So she found all this shit. Like, so there was one where I was talking about Chris Brown with somebody, and I had an ex-girlfriend and I really did do this. Like, she smashed all my shit with a hammer. We had a terrible relationship.
Oh no!
And I actually grabbed her by the neck at one point after she did that. And but my whole point of telling the story was like, because people would be like, "Well, she smashed your stuff." I'm like, it's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I should have probably been a man and got the fuck out of that. It didn't happen overnight.
Right.
I saw the signs.
Sure.
Before it ever got to something like that, I should have been out of there. But I was such a.
It was some good pussy.
Really,
but her carpentry really turns you on a lot.
Yeah.
When she turned the tool on
it
you,
really was good pussy. Dude.
Sure
but
did.
I was such a fucking dipshit that. And literally, I thought this in my head. I was like, it was so hard getting cable installed in this apartment that I just felt like I couldn't go through that again, and didn't move out. Like that dumb my thinking to just stay in a abusive relationship.
not dumb at all.
Funny stuff though, too.
But so the whole point of it is like there's no reason to be in a situation like that ever. By the way, I was physically abused far more than it, which I could have totally got arrested for. Do you know what I mean? But there was no there was no beating or a thing like that. It was like out of line, right?
How long into this relationship did you realize, oh, fuck.
Second date.
I got a wild one.
Dude, the second date.
Yeah.
And my dumbass stayed for 4 years.
Yeah,
and
we
then
all
after
have that story.
and then after that, dude,
too long.
I got her pregnant at one point and begged her to have it. And she didn't, thank Christ.
Why'd you want her to have it? Do you really want
Because
her
I'm a fucking moron.
Okay.
The theme of this is I'm stupid. So
wait. So you knew the second day in? I need to. What did she do where you went, oh, fuck?
She was older than me, and she was like I was like a kept man. And as I didn't make any money, dude. Like,
I
that's
can't
how
even dream of a situation
You've
where I would
told
beg
some
a
of
girl
these
to have
stories
a
on
baby.
our show. Wait, how much older was she?
10 years older. So I was like 27, and she was 37 when we first met. And I was with her for like 4 years.
And very early in, you knew.
Dude, it was it was so hot, dude. It was
Nothing got his penis harder than this girl at that point.
I mean, she's just so tremendous at it. Like, it was just.
She didn't give a fuck. She wrecked all your stuff with a hammer.
Like where people scratch your worst perverted itch.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah. Oh no!
So
she put on diapers for you,
dude. All that shit, bro. All that shit. But anyway, the whole point of me telling that story of that was, you don't ever have to be in a situation. Get the fuck out. It's not healthy. Like, just, you know what I mean? So she takes it as like So this is like so I'm 37 now, so this is a while ago this happened. She's like, he admitted to a DV, which is domestic violence. I thought it was double vaginal.
Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve.
So I always introduce GVAC as the cackling hyena with titanium turds or depleted uranium feces or colonic concretions. And I always get great joy out of making fun of him, mostly because he's so beloved on the internet. I mean, he has these followers that, are always, oh, GVAC, you're awesome on Twitter and all this shit. So taking this fucker down a peg is fun. Well, but I thought about you the other day because I've been doing this Vinnie Tortorich thing, and one of the adverse effects for me for doing, and I haven't been eating enough fruit, so in doing low carbohydrate, which is what it ends up being, because I'm doing no grains, no sugar. And then, what are you going to get? Well, you can eat fruit. And I hadn't been eating as much fruit as I normally do, and I started getting bound up, as they say in Tennessee. And oh my God, I went 3 days. I never go 3 days. We've talked about it on the show. I used to go every single day before I got in the shower. I had my body trained. Well, then my kid starts going to middle school, and they go an hour earlier, and my body wasn't prepared for that. I couldn't make it shit an hour earlier. It wanted to shit at 7:00 and no earlier. and I couldn't make it shit at 6. And when I used to go, on outdoor things where you had to get up early, I always had a problem because I could never shit before I went out. If I had to get up early for something, I'd always have to take a dump halfway in the middle of the morning.
You're going on an early fishing excursion, and when you're in the middle of the lake, you got to shit.
Right, exactly. And so anyway, so I'm all messed up, and so I don't go for like 3 days, but I didn't have the urge to go. And then one day, last week, I got the urge. It's like, oh boy, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to have a 3-day dump. It's going to be fantastic. And it was like I had a bowling ball in my ass.
Welcome to my world. Yep.
I mean, and I would sit and I'd have the feeling like I've got to take a dump, and then it would be like this large object hitting up against a brick wall. It wouldn't go.
It was like trying to push a bowling ball through the size of like a dime.
Yes.
You know? It's like,
That's what
not
it
going
feels
to
like.
happen, you know? And
so I tried straining, and I really thought I was going to have a stroke. I got this throbbing in the upper part of my head, and I'm like, I have popped out a fucking aneurysm in my brain.
All I could think was, I'm going like Elvis. They're going to find me dead on the toilet.
And then my hands are on both sides. You know, there's like a wall on either side of the toilet where it is in a little cubby. And I was on both sides of that, kind of straining up in the air like Samson, pushing against the, walls. And that didn't help. So I get this turd about halfway. Something comes halfway out of my ass, and I can't get it to go back in. I can't get it to drop out. So this is the most disgusting thing. I had to turtle walk all the way to my wife's bathroom because she and I don't share a bathroom. She makes me go into a whole nother room to. Well, I know.
Upon hearing this story, do you blame her?
No. So I have to go. I turtle walk all the way into her bathroom, terrified that I'm going to drop this load that's halfway out of my ass on our brand new carpet that we just had installed. And I didn't want to put my hand back there because it's just too gross. Oh. But she has a ready supply. Hello, Dr. Scott. By the way, we're joined by Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medical specialist, who gives us street cred with the alternative wacko medical crowd. You've got to turn your microphone on, though, because remember, we left the phantom power on, my friend. Thank you. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Bingo. There we go.
Hello, Dr. Scott.
Good afternoon.
So I'm just telling the story about how this horrific shit that I will still make fun of GVAC, but I'll feel a little more bad about it now.
We have a kinship now.
Because I can identify. So I turtle walk into my wife's bathroom, which is, across the house, and she has a ready supply of glycerin suppositories. And I take a piece of toilet paper because I've got a turd halfway hanging out my ass, and I have to mush this thing up in there. And all it's going to do is lube it, right? And just give a little bit of lubrication. So I go sit back down and I get my book out and I'm just going to sit there. And finally, this bowling ball comes out of my ass, lubed up by the glycerin suppository. And it was a great relief. And I'm amazed that I didn't just rip my asshole into shreds. You see those gaping videos and stuff?
Oh, well, yeah.
Sure.
Who watches that?
Seek them out, but I've seen them by accident. Particularly when someone says, "Hey, Dr. Steve, can you take a look at my toe?" And then I click on it, and it's this fucking guy gaping. Mm-hmm. But now you understand why, because
how people can fist and stuff like that.
Yeah, our asses were designed to every once in a while push out a giant fucking bowling ball of shit.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I had to look at it, and it literally looked like a duck pin ball. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
I'm not going to exaggerate and say it was as big as a bowling ball, but it was about the size of a duck pin ball, and somehow it came out of my ass. And then now I have to flush it. There's some toilet paper there. There's this big giant thing. Of course it clogs.
Of course.
Now, I've got to get to work. So this happened in the morning. After I dropped my kids off, I had to go back home because I had the urge. It had been 3 days. And so now I've got to get to work, but I've got a clogged fucking toilet.
Oh, no.
Now, And if there's a plumber out there that can tell me this, it's almost every time I take a decent sized dump, my toilet clogs now. So I think there's something wrong with it. There's either there's a foreign body lodged in there, or the wax ring has something ain't right. But anyway, so I have a plunger right next to the toilet. And so I start plunging the thing, and there's shit water going everywhere because it's running up again against an immovable object.
Yeah.
Because this turd is just wedged in there, and so when I'm sloshing up and down, the water is just going around the plunger and coming, and creating these waves that are now just sloshing out onto the floor. And so I've got another plunger. I've got one of these big sort of it looks like a bellows.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Like an accordion style.
Yeah, like an accordion style. So I go downstairs and I've got one of those. And so I'd flush the toilet again to get some water in there. Well, this time now it starts flooding over.
Right.
So now I've got more shit water on the floor, and I'm reaching down to turn the water off.
Kill the supply.
And the water is flooding all over my shirt. And it's reasonably dilute, but it's still shit water. And I have to sit there for a while, let it go on down. And then I get the second plunger out, and I'm plunging it. And I'm telling you, for an hour, I plunged with alternating one plunger after another, got nowhere. I had to call a fucking plumber.
Oh my God.
Shit. Literally. Wow.
To come and unclog my toilet.
Oh my God.
Now this is a guy that I know, and that was even more embarrassing.
Explain to him that I just shit out a bowling ball.
I didn't.
And I need your help.
I just said the toilet doesn't work.
My wife hates me.
What do you think of that Nicki Minaj
Did you see that video?
Well, it's like all kinds of Nazi imagery.
She's a fucking.
I think honestly she doesn't know. I can't imagine.
No. You think her agent isn't Jewish? You think someone she works with?
I think she herself, the director proposed something. He said this was like 1984 or whatever, some other reference,
video.
And then.
Okay, this is. Does this remind you of any kind of Nazi stuff right here? Hold on.
Well, Drake is in it. What the fuck is
that? Wow.
Oh my God, what a beautiful song.
I know. My daughter knows every word to this song. Sometimes I say easy on the R.
What the fuck is this? What is this?
I know.
I was listening to Billy Joel in the car.
Look at that.
What the fuck is that shit?
Heil Hitler all the way.
Oh my God, with the fucking arm things? Wow, she's articulate. She is articulate. I'm sure.
Ask Ben.
I'm upset about the rhymes. I don't feel like they're as good as they could be.
Why is this music? I want to know why this is music.
I don't know.
This is terrible.
What happened? What happened? George Gershwin. They come over here. Leonard Bernstein. They create the most beautiful. And this is fucking what's on the fucking radio?
All right.
I want to see them more.
There's no goose stepping.
There's no marching.
Oh my God, bitches, niggas.
Bad bitches,
terrible.
niggas, rich niggas.
Rich niggas only. I took offense to that.
Boss niggas. Thick bitches only. Oh. Okay, can I just say something?
But it's also like they're just kind of reading a journal. Like, where's the artistry in it?
I grow up and I'm like, oh, let me put on a song. What the fuck is this?
What about Close to You? Go ahead.
Oh, so good. Yeah,
Go ahead.
now listen to this.
Oh, this is
this is right before she died from anorexia, but still.
This is beautiful.
Every time you are near, just like me, they long to be. Fuck you, bitch, mother tits ass! Boss nigga, boss nigga! Do stars fall down from the sky every bitches, motherfucker, bitches. Big nigga, fat bitch nigga, fat. They long to be close to you. Come on, fat nigga, bitch. On the day that you were born, the angels got together. Fuck you, bitch, motherfucker. Come true, nigga, bitch. Nigga. Golden starlight in your eyes of blue. Nigga, bitch. Nigga, bitch. That is why all the girls in town follow you. I follow you, fat ass bitch. Bitch, nigga. Boss nigga. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Fuck you, nigga! Nigga, bitch! Fat ass motherfucker! Boss nigga! Fuck you up the ass!
If you're just tuning in, we're dedicating the song to Nicki Minaj.
I know this country. On the day that you were born, my twat came bigger, baby, because you got a big ass twat, you nigga bitch. Silly sprinkle gold dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes. Fuck my ass! I got fat bitch nigga. Is why all the girls in town follow you. Stick it, bitch! I fuck her! Fucking you, man! Fuck my tits! Nigga! They long to be close. I got a cramp. Oh my God! Judy. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Nigga, nigga, nigga.
That was Judy Gold with Nigga Bitch.
Opie and Jim Norton.
So we got to do the smack video that Jimmy brought up
on the subway. Yeah,
oh yes.
These women, these fucking four women, black women, were yelling at some guy for something, and they were smacking the phone out of the guy's hand who was filming it. But he seemed pretty nonplussed by it. Like, that guy should not be arrested for slapping them.
No, right. The girls were like attacking him first?
He was 100. I didn't see what led up to this or what started it.
Right.
But just from the video, he was 100% justified in slapping her because she hit him first.
Yeah, don't hit first.
You hit a woman?
Right.
They'll pull that shit.
They'll try to say
Try that with a cop. Watch what a cop. I've seen cops smack their heads into a wall.
Oh, yeah.
So just go by what the cops do. That's what I say.
This is the setup. A brawl broke out on an F train in Greenwich Village when a woman was smacked in the face and knocked down by a man she was arguing with, and four people were cuffed following the man.
A man she was arguing with?
Why don't they say that
she was
a man she hit first?
Yeah.
Are we like all dating now? Is that what this is? We're all married now? And then they tell you,
she struck him. They weren't just
let's
arguing.
see the video. Let's see
the video we're about to play for us.
He should have checked his privilege.
Shows a woman and her friends laughing at and taunting a man while on the train between the Broadway, Lafayette, and West 4th Street stations early Saturday. So that's what we're going to be watching.
I don't know what started the argument, but he's a 6'12" man.
He has on an 8-ball jacket that ain't been around since like '89.
He does address that. It's too short for him. His little arms are sticking out.
He appears to be a Latino of some kind, maybe?
Yeah. He's a big guy.
It's like you Alpo from Harlem in '89 selling drugs with a... All right, go ahead. Just play it.
Nigga, like, fuck is you talking about? Like,
she need
nigga,
an
Look at the uncomfortable white guy walking away.
You mean, like, fuck is you talking about? Stay over there. Yeah. She's not speaking.
Oh my God.
You got a bum ass 8-ball jacket that came out in 1990.
She's killing.
That's Nike boots. That's this long.
I support this
Get your
part.
money up. Simple. Like, I'm done. I'm just done. Get your money up. All right? Done. All right? You want to know some shoes I got on? I got Steve Madden on. All right?
No, nobody wants Steve Madden no more.
What the? Why you stuck to? You match up
Oh, see?
Oh, she hit him.
I don't know what's going on.
The guy who's filming
hard to understand.
said something.
Yeah.
They were yelling at another guy. The guy who's filming...
Steve Madden's a played out too, bitch. That's what.
Oh, Oh, is that what he said?
Talk about the shoes.
Okay, so he started with her. She came over, yelled at him, and they smacked his phone. Of course, they smacked him.
What did the guy say that was filming?
That he said that Steve Madden's the shoes. She's like, I'm wearing Steve Madden. He's like, those are played out too, like the 8-ball jacket.
Oh, okay, so he's kind of siding with the guy. Maybe he saw the beginning of the argument.
And that pissed her off.
And she knocks the phone out of his hand.
Nice.
One of her friends comes over and knocks the phone out of his hand.
That's a gang.
Yeah, they're the Lizzies from the Warriors.
Go back to the Steve Madden line if you can, please.
That's hilarious.
That's a good line.
No, nobody wants Steve Madden no more. That's the girl. Damn, you petty as hell. You can't even afford this.
You petty as hell.
What you doing that for?
She's got some fucking balls, man.
I don't do when you get mad.
You sound stupid.
Fucking dirty bitch.
You sound.
She's sucking again.
Holy
shit! I haven't seen
this.
Classic.
He called her a dirty bitch after all she's been saying, and then she makes her face like, "What did you call me?"
And then she hit him in
and
his
she
head.
hits him, and he smacks. So
with a heavy ass purse.
Fuck her. Him hitting her did not start the brawl.
No.
Her hitting him
Here's
did.
the argument, though. Do you hit back?
Yes. 100%.
Do you hit back?
Listen,
you want to make the same money? Fair enough.
I think I'm gonna be in public getting smacked around by some dumb bitch.
Not when I come into my pants, I'm not.
Yeah. After I come, she's getting slapped.
But yeah, she asked for it.
The most important question in any fight is who hit first.
Yep.
Period.
She hit this one guy's phone 2 or 3 times out of his hand. She was physical with the guy holding the phone, and then she was physical with this guy.
Opie, we got to drop an atomic bomb on Japan for one reason.
To have freedom.
They hit first. That's the only reason.
Yep. Can we see the smack? Because he cocks his hand back.
That could be the greatest smack. I mean,
it really is the greatest smack.
That could be one of the greatest, most well-deserved delivered smacks.
She makes a decision. Watch her face. She makes a decision. Like he had the nerve to call her a dirty bitch.
Like after all she said.
Yeah, she's awful, this chick.
The title of the video is "Man Smacks the Soul Out of Girl."
Nice.
Well, he did do that.
Yeah, but she should have she shouldn't hit him first.
I mean, that smack was just as throwback as his jacket because he brought it from back here somewhere.
That was really a fucking Jimmy Cagney smack.
It's Eric Nagel.
I'd like to welcome to the show right now, Mr. Cal Penn. Cal, how are you?
Good, how are you?
What's it like working with Martin Sheen, knowing that he did West Wing, and then you also got a chance to work in the Obama administration?
I was a Martin Sheen fan for ages, and I was a huge West Wing fan also. We've never talked about the actual versus the fictitious West Wing, but when I was working at the White House, it was interesting to see how little the West Wing mirrored what actually happens. There are some things that are accurate, like, these walk and talk meetings where you need to get a meeting done and you only have 2 minutes when somebody.
You got to walk them right down to the car.
Have to walk to so that's all, that kind of stuff is true. But then the things like, let's order Chinese food. It's 2 a.m. We're pulling an all-nighter, beers and Chinese food. I was really excited about that concept. And then you start pulling your all-nighter and someone's like, no, that's not reality. Secret Service won't let you bring food in here. There's a vending machine in the basement though, if you're hungry. I'm like, oh, boo.
They don't have the chef up late at night cooking and
not on the staff level. I think, hopefully if the president's working late, they've got that.
You're the, former director, former director of the White House of Public Engagement.
So I was one of several associate directors of public engagement. I worked mostly on issues related to young people. So the office used to be called, this is kind of a little bit of boring insider speak. It used to be called the Office of Public Liaison. I think it was started by the Nixon administration. It was basically a place where if you were an advocate or a lobbying organization, this was a place you could go to make your voice heard. The president campaigned on this promise of, wanting to be more accessible, wanting people to have a seat at the table. So it changed the dynamic of the office so that there was a person there basically could listen to any interest group, organization, community, that, had a particular grievance or wanted to make their voice heard on a piece of legislation or what have you. So, I worked on the youth component of that, which I loved. I mean, it was, and I think still is, a lot of really important, interesting things. The Affordable Care Act, when it was going through Congress, the piece of it the outreach piece of it in particular that I worked on was the being able to stay on your parents' health insurance plan until you're 26. That was fascinating to see because you had youth advocates, young people who were Democrats, Republicans, Independents saying, we want you to put in the bill, we want the president to vouch for you should stay on your parents' health insurance plan until you're 28.
Yeah.
And then you had older folks say, no way, that's too expensive. Make it 21, make it 22. And then seeing when he came up with the 26 number.
I'm glad they changed it because I don't get that. When you're 21 and 22, you're still in college.
Yeah.
So if you're in college and a lot of the times your parents are helping you pay for college or they're paying for college, but you're not ready to go out into the world yet at 21, 22 because you're still doing school. So then all of a sudden you have the major financial responsibility of paying for your health care.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and there's also all these folks who either choose not to go to school or they're in community college or trade school or military or just seeking unemployment, right out of high school, and it's challenging for them. I was fascinated by the concept that, look, 40 million new people are getting health insurance, and I'm working on this little component outreach side that's based on young people under 26.
Right.
It's just fascinating. And then things like the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell or doubling Pell Grants for college. I mean, these are things that are, if you look at older people over 35, they view it as a Democrat or Republican issue. But if you look at younger people, they're like, no, of course we should get this done. Why is it taking so long to get this done? So it was an interesting dynamic. I really enjoyed it.
This was an appointed position, right?
Yeah.
They came and asked you if you would come on board and help out?
Yeah, a lot of the new, especially in the new administration, a lot of the early appointees are people who had worked on the candidates' campaigns. This happens on the gubernatorial side, senator, obviously the president. And I joined the Obama campaign in 2007 when before the Iowa caucuses. So there were 10 Democrat, 10 Republicans running, for this thing. He was down 40 points in the polls. There was a writer's strike in Hollywood, so I couldn't see him anyway. So I started volunteering, and it was interesting to see how this momentum picked up, hopefully, but unexpectedly. And the next thing 2 years go by and he's the president and you don't really say, no, I have another stoner movie to make. You say, yes, I'm honored to serve my country. And
it'd be funny if Obama's looking for some ideas and give me the Kumar kid. How long did you have the position for?
I was there for 2 years.
For 2 years. Yeah. Now, was that the length of the position, or did you decide to leave?
So these are open in the sense that they're, you get sworn in. It's considered at the pleasure of the president. So you can serve for all 8 years, or a lot of people take. And I have to say, this is not a particularly unique thing to me. Right. I know because I'm in the public eye, a lot of people feel like it is, but there were plenty of people who are doctors and CEOs and professors and grad students and lawyers that took a year off or 2 years off or 5 years off to serve, in the administration. So in my case, I said I was just going to do it for a year. And I was going to take a sabbatical from acting, do that for a year, and then go back to acting. And I realized probably 6 months into working at the White House that the federal government operates so painfully slowly that nothing that I was working on was actually going to get done in a year, so I extended it a second year.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I just read a whole thing about how strip clubs used to be. You walk in, people are throwing money on the stage and nonstop, but nowadays that the strippers actually have to go to the people and try to sell lap dances. That gets totally changed their job.
What do you think that is? You think that's like pornography on the internet? Like they have more access?
Money. 100% money.
So like the economy shitting the bed.
Totally.
But has the economy affected comedy clubs that much?
Well, I think comedy clubs kind of slid by because people needed a laugh.
Right.
So
movies.
One of the movies it affected, right?
But yeah, I think so. But then you wonder how much of that is attributable to piracy.
Or just having awesome TVs that are better than most movie theaters.
Yeah, and like always movies that you haven't seen. I mean, you could always go on iTunes or something you haven't seen, and you can get it instantly in your home and not have to deal with anybody talking. And God, last time I was at the movie theater, this fucking couple just wouldn't shut the fuck up. It was so brutal. They were just talking while the fucking movie was on.
Imagine how many less people go to movies now.
A lot less. I'm sure.
Buy music.
That's a big one.
That's antiquated now.
I had Paul Stanley on from Kiss, and he was talking about the dip in record sales. This is going to be the first year where no band goes platinum.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no platinum anymore.
Well, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift went platinum?
Well, I'm not saying she did. No, I'm not saying she did, but I said what I'm saying is they had a big thing about her this week that she's actually still selling albums.
Yeah, because people who like her are too fucking stupid to have a computer. That's what it is. I'm just kidding.
She's hot, though.
She's beautiful. I don't even know what her music is, honestly. I'm just talking shit.
Maybe I'll team up with her, Joe.
I think Kanye was right the whole time.
I don't know. Fuck all that. I'm sure she was right. just the way he did that was one of the douchiest things a person's ever done.
Was that who he went on stage with?
Yeah. He took the microphone away from her and said, I'm going to let you finish, but first I just want to say, but Beyonce had the best music video of all time. Like, whoa. The fact that you think that your opinion is so important that you interrupt someone while they're getting an award.
That's terrible. Yeah.
Not only that, who the fuck can say whose video is better than who? Like, there's going to be videos that you love, and I love you, but there's going to be videos that you love that I think are dog shit. Right? That's just the way it is. There's going to be stuff that I like you're going to think is terrible. There's going to be stuff that I'll go out of my way to listen to, and you'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ, will you turn that off?
Yeah.
We all have different tastes. So anybody that thinks like their taste in music video is more important, that said that Beyonce video was pretty dope.
Yeah, and I would fuck Beyonce before her any day.
That's good. I don't
without a doubt.
Does Beyonce have a choice in this?
Without a doubt. Beyonce's
she has to fuck you?
Out of control. No, she doesn't have a choice. In Brian's special secret fantasy world. No, why would she have a choice? That would fucking ruin everything.
Oh, sorry.
She's supposed to be magically attracted to him.
I always loved that. You know, we're allowed to. My husband and I were allowed to fuck two people. Me, Al Pacino, and her. Like, you know, like Al. Does Al have a say in this?
This is how I picture it. I picture Brian in a magical bathrobe. He steps out and he just looks at the two of them, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. He goes, "You," and he takes him into a room, and they have
Taylor Swift's so depressed.
There's clouds everywhere. He lives in a fantasy.
Ties her up, butt up in the air.
Ties her up.
Yeah.
Why ties her? You don't want to tie people up, dude. That gets it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Did you hear Artie Lang got in trouble because he said there's some beautiful actress. He said something like he would want to have her as his slave or something along those lines.
He did a lot of stuff back and forth on Twitter. I heard. I was in Toronto, so
you get in trouble for Twitter.
Not anymore. People have lightened up over the last couple of days. It used to be that you could fucking lose your job, but now people are they're way more cool on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
No one's arguing anymore. It ended. Everybody realized calling people names on Twitter is fucking pointless, so it just ended.
I don't do that, man.
He, I don't know what he said, but he apologized, and he apologized to her if he hurt her feelings, but not to anybody that was asking him to apologize. He was like, fuck you. Like, this fucking PC is going to be the death of funny. It's like where a guy can't just fuck around and say something like that. Like, of course he thinks slavery should be illegal. Of course.
That's going out on a limb.
I'm crazy like that, bro. Of course he would think that the idea of him enslaving her is fucking ridiculous, but he's just trying to be funny.
Yeah,
that's all he's trying to do.
It's never going to happen.
It didn't work. He missed the mark, but he's just trying to be funny. That's all it is. Artie Lang loses that midnight appearance, banned from ESPN after tweets. Wow, they banned him from ESPN.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What would he be?
Let's read the tweets. This chick on ESPN's she's on ESPN. ESPN's First Take is so fucking hot, he said. Trying to maintain erection and jerk off to chick on First Take, but they keep cutting back to Stephen A. Smith and the white guy. Frustrating.
The Sam Roberts Show.
Do you have a favorite cast member on Utopia?
Do I have a favorite?
Or was it just you?
No. Well, I love me some me.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of people that I really enjoyed. And it's funny because one of the people I really enjoyed wasn't there very long.
Mm-hmm.
And he scared me to death.
Who was that?
That's Fifth Ave Dave.
Really?
He scared me to death.
Nicole, did you have a favorite character?
That'd be Fifth Avenue Dave.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the hotline to Sam Roberts Show, Fifth Avenue Dave.
Yeah, we here, man. We here.
What's going
there
on?
He is, Fifth Avenue
he is.
Dave. Dave, we have been following your journey since the beginning. I'm telling you, you were a standout on that show. You had to know. Rob is here, by the way. Your former Utopia castmate, Rob, is here.
Hey, Rob, what's up, man? What's going on?
What's up, Fifth? How you doing, man?
And I'm telling you, from the time you told us your story, Nicole, remember, she was there with me. You put it all on the table. You said, son of a prostitute, never seen your father, not once, not never.
Not never.
Fifth Avenue Dave, here to change your life, blah, blah, blah. How did you feel like... Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How did you feel you were portrayed on that show, Fifth Avenue Dave?
I feel like it was pretty accurate. I mean, they gave us a lot of freedom. So, I mean, it's a weird situation once again, but, they could have made me look way worse. That's what I'm trying to say.
They could have made you look worse?
Wow. Yeah, they could have made me look 10 times worse. They could have made me look like a real bad person, but I think they made me look like a nice, great guy.
I mean, they did. I'll tell you, the thing about Fifth Avenue Dave's...
They could have made him. I want to see it now.
Fifth Avenue Dave it was brilliant to watch him on TV.
Yeah,
because he was sitting there.
You would let your kids watch. You would let anybody.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about all that because every 15 minutes, Dave would be mad at somebody, and then 15 minutes later, apologizing and turning over. Yeah,
new leaf.
But Dave, you were there for maybe 3 episodes. I've never seen anybody turn over a new leaf more times than you.
I know, right?
Did you know from the beginning?
Just see my real life.
From the beginning, did you wonder if this was a good idea? You had Hour as a show, and Nicole, I'll speak for you because I think you're right. Your quote, "I'm not jacking that."
Oh, I'm not jacking that.
Was the favorite thing that happened on the entire series when you got there and you realized that you could not bring all your shit with you to Utopia because they wanted to bring 2 crossbows instead of 1. Did you realize at that point that this was not the right fit for you?
Yeah, at that point, at that moment, I felt like prison, man. It just kicked in like
I felt like prison,
real, man.
Yeah.
Like I gotta fight for my stuff now.
Dave, where I think Utopia really opened people's worlds was in fruit negotiations.
Absolutely.
It was
bananas. Absolutely.
You said you'd like your bananas paid off now, and if you don't have the 2 bananas, you'll accept an apple and an orange.
That's right. That's right. Fair exchange is not a robbery, but when you just take, hey, don't even tell me that. Take that.
Yeah. I was on your side for that, Dave.
You were.
I was like, yo, you take 2 bananas, you give the man 2 bananas.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because it went bananas real quick.
This has been Opie Radio Accelerated. Looking back at all that was this week in the world of Opie Radio. At Opie Radio and at Jim Norton on Twitter. And listen to all your favorite shows only here on Opie Radio. Sirius 206, XM 103. It's the best of the week.
My day just got happier.
What's up? Anson Williams live in studio. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good.
Good to see you.
Opie. And for the reason you think, too, growing up.
Because he's gay.
Okay.
The whole Ron Howard thing. I was stuck with that fucking nickname when I was growing up.
That's funny.
And then I just went with
Fonzie, and this is Ralph.
And now I'm just way too old to be an Opie. That's the problem. But what are you going to do?
Famous at it. That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't change now. I kind of thought about changing, but I just can't, I guess.
Years and years ago, I was talking to Ron, and I said, this Potsy stuff, man, I don't know. He goes, what are you complaining about? He goes, I got Opie and Richie.
Yeah. He's got 2 of them.
Yeah.
People call you just Potsy all the time?
No. Now it's he said, like even Ron says, you earn your name.
Yeah.
You do enough outside, you earn it. People know you as that, then you got to do other stuff.
Yeah, people got to understand you never went away. The Happy Days show went away, but then you were extremely and continue to be extremely successful.
Yeah, but that's just people know what they see, and then you're around enough, all of a sudden they know they
Right.
go, they know what you do.
How long does it take though before, like, you know what I mean? It's like I at one point I'm like cool, and then like how many years of like hey horsecock can I finally do it before I get it?
Well, you got a book out called "Singing to a Bulldog: From Happy Days to Hollywood Director and the Unlikely Mentor Who Got Me There," which was pretty fascinating. You were a teenager working as a janitor.
Yes. Well, it's funny. Growing up, well, it's not funny. Growing up at my dad was in World War II, and it was, and he came out of that, and it was a different world back then. It was kind of a harsh upbringing. So at 15 years old, I wasn't the most confident kid. I was pretty broken.
Yeah, but you didn't really explain that in the book. It sounded like you had a tough childhood. What was the basic issues in the house?
Basically everything was run on fear. And kind of a demeaning kind of environment where it's like you felt less than more.
Right.
And was he a drunk who would yell at you?
No. He actually, it turned out years later we became very close. But he came out of World War II. He saw hell.
Right.
And
he had to take it out on somebody.
And it's literally. And all of a sudden he's a few years later he's married, has his, and he's his own frustrations, and now you have this responsibility of a kid. And
how young was he?
Huh? He was in his he was like 24.
Okay.
And in his 21st birthday in the trenches of Germany, he was on D-Day. He was in Battle of the Bulge. I mean, he went through. So I got it. But a lot of my friends did it. A lot of us got it. But it hit me hard, and I was, really unconfident person at the time. So we didn't have money either. So anything I wanted in life other than food on the table, I had to earn. So I got a job as an assistant janitor at Leonard's department store when I was 15. And my boss was a man by the name of Willie Turner, who's Afro-American, middle 50s, I'd say, alcoholic, illiterate. He would say dems and does and, you sit down, boy. That's how he talked.
Right.
And it really taught me, never judge anybody. You never know where you're going to get the magic for your life. This man had a janitorial room, and he called it the talk room. And he had 2 oil drum cans. And here's me, this 15-year-old, kid, and he talked to me instead of at me. And in those 2 years being with Willie, I found me.
Wow.
If it wasn't for him, I would not be here today talking to you.
Wow.
So going back to writing the book, it started off as kind of a small little thing. I'll write a couple of stories for this, Reader's Digest, blah, 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 blah. And I sat down and I thought, it just came over me. There would be no stories without Willie Turner. And it all came back. And all of a sudden, it turned into a book, Singing to a Bulldog. And what it is all these fun stories. And getting kidnapped by the President of the United States' daughter, meeting Elvis in the parking lot, crazy Forrest Gump stories. But every story has a bigger story. It's a lesson from Willie going back to the talk room, so the reader can actually have that same conversation, can have that same life lesson, the same opportunity I had to maybe help them find themselves. So I combine that in the book, Singing to a Bulldog.
Yeah.
And the reason for the title, Singing to a Bulldog, again, years before with Willie, I'm in the appliance section, and we're putting up refrigerators. This is the 60s. I know I look younger.
You really do look good. I meant to say that.
You're doing something right, Anson Williams.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you're cute too. No.
Thank you.
Anyway, stop. So anyway, it was the time refrigerators where the freezer compartments, there was no ice in them. It just froze your food. So I'm looking at that going, yeah, they should say freeze your food, not your freezer. Willie goes, that's good, boy. That you got, and he said, you got the gift. You know how to sell. That's
got the shining.
You got it. But you got, that's powerful. You got to use it right. And I finally understood. It's the first time I had entrepreneurial skills. I figured it out. 2 days later, there's a banner across the appliance section. Freeze your food, not your freezer. You don't know what that meant to a 15-year-old guy. Willie talked to the manager, and I went, oh my God, and they sold the hell out of the refrigerators. So cut to years later, we're doing Happy Days, and like Willie told me, you move forward, boy. You look for opportunity. You move forward. So I'm on the show. You don't get paid back then the way you do now. It was okay, but you wouldn't get rich. And I'm looking. There's got to be opportunity. Wait, David Cassidy's singing on the Partridge Family, the Brady Bunch. They're singing. I go, if I can sing on the show, I can get a record contract, and I can get booked, and I can make some dough off this show. So I go, yeah, we need a band. So I find Gary, and he goes, Gary, I'm busy. Talk to me later. I'm busy right now. No, he goes, walk with me. Hurry, what? What is it? And you've interviewed Gary, Yeah, we have. So they goes, what is it? I said, yeah, and I'm going, okay, here comes the elevator pitch. You got girls, you got cars. You don't have a band. We need a band in Arnold's. We'll have music. He stops. A band. Rich, you can play. I like a band. You sing, right? I go, yeah. Yeah. He goes, you good? I go, yeah, I'm okay. He goes, yeah, I used to play drums. Hey, yeah, there's a frat party coming up. We'll put a band in there. See how it goes. That's a good idea. And I go, I'm going 90 seconds. I got my first national shot. And he walks away. Then he turns to me. But you're going to sing to a bulldog. I go, what? Why? He goes, if you're good, I get laughs. If you're bad, I get laughs. Just singing to a bulldog.
Wow.
And sure enough, that first episode, well, bless my soul, what's wrong? Cutting the dog, right?
Right.
And I did. But that episode, singing to the dog, he goes, I like it. I'll put more music in. I got a record contract. I got booked. So singing to a bulldog represents more than just singing. It opened up the world for me. It opened up everything. So, Jump the Shark came from Happy Days, And
yes.
So we say jump the shark's the precise moment when success starts to decline. Singing to a bulldog is the precise moment when you start to climb.
Nice.
And that's how it came
well,
about.
a couple things. Every chapter starts with something Willie told you.
Yes.
So you wrote that stuff down when you were 15 years old?
No, I remember.
You just always remembered.
I always remembered. It's
these
like,
little life lessons he was telling you on a daily basis.
Yeah. It's embedded in my head, you know? I mean, I could sit there, close my eyes, and be right back in that room.
And why wasn't he more successful? Because he does seem like he's quite the inspiration in your life.
Because he was a broken man.
From what, though? Was there something that happened that turned him into an alcoholic and all that?
Oh, I think his from what I remember with him, he was a broken man. He had a horrible upbringing. He had a disabled sister that wasn't home one day. They just couldn't afford her anymore. She was gone. I mean, he had
what?
yeah.
Wait, what? They just gave.
We can't afford your sister anymore.
They just got rid of her, right?
Yeah. He came home and she was gone. And I mean, I'm hearing these stories, and and then he was on the streets, and it was like a 15-year-old kid that brought his life around.